you go.
No, that wasn't good.
Peace and blessings. This is Brother Gunzy with my aunt, and we're today on Sunday, December 30th, with some sisters. We're just discussing information and sharing knowledge, open-minded discussions, and kind of led by Brother Sankofa, you see right here, and some of the sisters is here today. We're just gonna get it popping. All right, Brother Sankofa, you can introduce yourself and discuss what you we're talking about.
Peace, everybody. It's a blessing and honor to be here. My name is Sankofa. The name Sankofa itself has a lot to do. Why I chose that name, rather, had a lot to do with my journey and quest for knowledge and where I'm at now. So I figured the name Sankofa, which is West African language from the Adinkra language, okay, in Ghana, which means to look back only to move forward, or to look back and grab. And since I was young, I always had a passion for knowledge. I always felt that there's something wrong, and there are a lot of voids, and there's things that I don't know that one day I will. I meditated on that and studied that. Okay, when I was young, I had a passion for studying that, and I went through different stages and growths into my evolution of knowledge. Started off with Islam, then on to the school of the Hebrew Israelites. I call it the school of thought. And then the school of thought of the Hebrew Israelites, with different ideologies. Always was into a black nationalism as my root, still is. And as my spiritual growth evolved me into what I deal with now, which is the Kemetic sciences, okay, I chose the attribute Sankofa because it means to look back, to grab, only to move forward. And in looking back or studying history or having a passion for knowledge and acquiring the knowledge that I did over the years and evolving in my different schools of thought, I took the name that best suited me, which was Sankofa. And I looked back, I did my research, I studied, examined, analyzed, and interpreted, and what I have now is the name Sankofa, which is the attribute that describes me, and collectively people who are looking back seeking knowledge. Sankofa is not just a name, it's also a movement, it's also a symbol, okay, of a bird reaching back, grabbing the egg off of his back. Now the bird's reaching back, grabbing the egg, because the egg is its descendant, or its future. But it's looking back to grab it, meaning you gotta look in the past. Not to live there, not to talk about the great things we did in Egypt, or as Hebrews, 10,000, 4,000 years ago, but look back to get that knowledge, the disciplines, the morals, the social structure and disciplines that it gives you to advance you, to make you more powerful, to elevate you, to make you a wiser person, and give you a more concrete understanding of knowledge of self, and give you a more concrete understanding of yourself in this world in which we live in, okay? Where my whole concern right here is black liberation theology. And when I say that, that is not reverse racism. That is not a counterpart that there's white supremacists, so I'm going to try to be the black version of that. It's not shallow on that level by any means. My whole point is to teach, first of all, it's rooted in love. Love is the most powerful, dominant force in the universe. So love is the spirit in which I come with, okay? Because I love self and kind, okay? I had a passion for knowledge because I seen something was wrong. I felt something was always missing. I always felt it was great. There was something in my spirit that always wanted to know because I wanted to use that knowledge to impact change, okay? And through teaching. Some people have other gifts that they do. Mine just through teaching. I believe that the Most High gave me that gift to do that, and my passion lies in that. So my point of teaching this theology is because we're dealing with a fallen part of humanity, okay? What happened to us is not exclusive. Yeah, there were other people who were slaves. There were other people who were affected by injustices and oppression through other people on the planet. The thing that is unique about us is that we're a people who are completely robbed of the knowledge of self. Yeah, the East Indians were under the British imperialism, but they still dressed in their same traditional garments, worshiped their same gods, and had their same culture and traditions, and so did the Chinese under British imperialism and other places and countries as well. However, we were robbed of that. Why? What was it about us, and what was unique about us that was different from them? Why did they have to take that? Not only was these things taken, they were concealed or reinterpreted in the form of different religious concepts and ideology and given back to us, regurgitated back to us in a generic form. And I'm like, what is the point? Somebody had an agenda. What was their agenda and why? It made me want to find out more about ourselves, not to just walk around with black pride and arrogance, because I see something's wrong. When I look at the social condition of our people, when I look at the state that we're in, socially, politically, economically, academically, and all levels of people activity, it makes me have great concern out of love for self and kind, which is natural, and which all humans on this planet rightfully should have, is love for self. First law of nature is self-preservation. And I felt as though I'm going to seek knowledge diligently, okay? And I'm going to commit to this sincerely because I want to impact change. Not because I want to think I know it all, win a debate, or just out-hate white people more than they hated us. Because I believe anybody who is against the paradigm shift of consciousness, black or white, will self-destruct. Will destroy themselves anyway. I don't have to put too much energy on hating somebody or always trying to disprove somebody. My thing is to try to impact change and using a knowledge of self. What is look at the word knowledge. The root word is to know. And when you know the ledge, you don't fall off into the pit of ignorance. We're already there. So we need a knowledge that's going to uplift us from that pit. We need a knowledge that's going to elevate us, that's going to help impact change. Look at the way we're dying in alarming rates all across America. Okay? Look at the level of self-hatred that we have for each other. Not only that, not only are we internally destroying us, we know that's a learned behavior. Any learned behavior can be unlearned. Okay? We also want to look at the outside institutions that is geared towards destroying and eliminating us. Some blatantly, a lot subliminally. You know what I mean? And Planned Parenthood, the foods we eat, Mark Sanger was a beast, boy, that's a whole other topic. You know what I mean? We are targeted for destruction. So a lot of people, when they try to equate or look at or examine the things that white people are doing and why we're doing it, it's not the same thing on so many levels. It's not the same thing on so many different levels. Okay? So my point in having this meeting today is just specifically this aspect, because it's multifaceted. You know, I go into politics, I go into the history, I go into. It seems like today's topic is going to be more pertaining to the theological aspect, which is very important. Spirituality is very important to the culture, heritage, the ways of the people, their morals, so on and so forth. Okay? And because part of our enslavement not only consisted of us being cut off from our land, economic resources, which ties you into riches, didn't just cut us off academically to make us ignorant, to make us more, and remold us in another form, and have an African body with a Eurocentric mind in it, but then they did something spiritual to us. Now, when you have a person, the reason why that's important, because you can have a person big, mighty, and strong, okay, but they're not going to fight against something small, a midget. A giant won't fight the midget if the midget can control the mind of that giant, okay? They doesn't even have to put a chain around that giant, but the giant's not going to go nowhere when you control the mind, okay? Now, spiritually, theologically, why is it that they gave us a different concept than we had? We had many of them when we came here. Why did they purposely cut them off and give us something different? Things are not just done for nothing. Things are always done with an intention and an objective behind it. What was the intention, the objective, and why? Okay? Why was we cut off not just from a knowledge of ourselves, of our great societies and civilizations and stuff, but spiritually? Okay? We have what it is. We have the most of the people on the planet Earth are black. Okay? And white people only make up, ecumenically speaking, which means globally speaking, only make up 10% of the planet. Okay? But here it is, you see that they dominate most of the planet, the people on it, and its resources. How did this happen? And a lot of the places where the Caucasian went with his Bible and his concepts, he went there with a Bible, ended up with the land, and the people had the Bible with no land no more. So there's a tactic he uses in religiosity, or I won't even call it spirituality, religion, it's not really spirituality, that he uses as part of his conquest mechanism, as part of a military strategy, and as a political strategy, he uses these things. So it is important that we talk about the theological aspects today as it pertains to the Hebrew Israelite, specifically on this, because we can talk forever about many different things and institutions and concepts and how it was done. We want to marginalize it so we can focus on one point, okay, and under the searchlight of truth, okay, seeking knowledge and trying to come to a conclusion of what that is. We're going to dwell on the topic of the Hebrew Israelite doctrine, which I was a member of the Hebrew. That was one of my schools of thought that I said I came from. Raised my son up in it, my firstborn, who was 18. Okay, my baby's mother, she wasn't into no knowledge. She was against all of that. She was one of the people that was closed-minded to everything. I don't want to hear none of that. You know what I mean? And I impacted after, didn't impose it on her by force, believe you, we're dealing with this. It was just, she seen how passionate I was about it. Since she already committed to deal with me, she's like, okay, why are you so passionate about learning? Let me just delve into this. Let me open my mind up a little bit. And it impacted her to the point where she got wholeheartedly into that. This is before our child was born. So he was raised into the knowledge of the Hebrew, had the Hebrew name, studying the Hebrew, knowing his Hebrew scriptures and all of that. So I'm not a stranger to that. And in fact, I'm very familiar with that. So what would make me, after all them years and committing to that and putting my woman into that and my child being born into that and them giving up people in our family calling us crazy, her family members saying he's crazy, you're crazy, you was raised Catholic, you know what I mean? What would make you leave that? Yeah, what would make you leave that to get into that, to get with this dude? He can't know it all. He only 18. I was real young at the time. He only 18. Why would you mean to tell me he know more than your priest? I mean, you know, just all that. You don't know nothing about life. You don't got no. So, you know, we was looking crazy to people, and nobody. I didn't go through all of those different things just to come in here now and represent or believing, or I'm going to use the word belief. That's a real tricky word. But dealing in the knowledge that I'm dealing with, okay, after having coming from this school of thought and sacrificing so much and impacting the life of others. I met Gunzy, teaching him the Hebrew Israelite doctrine when we first met when he was into Christianity, right? Wasn't that my passion? Wasn't that what I was into? So what would make me, after all these years of being called crazy, of being called and being passionate about it, I was like, it was an honor to be called crazy. I must be doing something right. Because the masses of people are blind, so I must be doing something against the grain. Thank you for calling me crazy. You know what I mean? That was my thing, okay? But getting to the point, I don't know if you need that. Do you? Okay, you don't need that anymore. So, you know, after coming into, you know, I kind of fell back into the world a little bit. You know, a lot of it actually. You know, but I fell back. I fell back, started dibbling, dabbling with a lot of negative stuff. You know what I'm saying? Playing with guns and all kind of stuff that you'd be like, how'd you go from this back into, you know, into this madness? You know what I mean? Because I wasn't on point with a lot of things. So I felt I'm going somewhere with the point. I'm not going to give you a synopsis of my life or nothing. But, you know, I fell back into the world, you know, ended up getting caught up and back to prison. You know, I was incarcerated before. I was a wild youth. Ended up going to prison and, you know, coming out. And, you know, it was just something I had to get back into this doctrine. I got to get back on my Hebrew grind because this is the truth. And this is where my blessings are going to come from. So in going back into that with a lot of passion again, I'm the prodigal son. I thought that not me individually, I'm one of the prodigal sons. Right. I went back into the dirt. Now I'm gonna come back harder because I went back into the negative. I was on both sides of the fence now. Now I'm coming back right to get my balance. So going back into the Hebrew Israelite doctrine, I started to study and had a passion and simultaneously at the same time, because I had moved out of Boston and went into New York, and you know, I used to be in New York and New Jersey all the time between with the young lady I was dealing with, and ended up dealing with the new Black Panther Party. Not because it had nothing to do with religion, because there were people from different backgrounds a part of that. There was Muslims in that, there was Christians in that, there was Bloods in it, there was Crips in it, there was Hebrew Israelites in it. A friend of mine's in it now. And as a Hebrew Israelite coming into that, okay, this is what I want to do as a social, political contribution to my people. They're doing food and clothes drives. They're doing something to impact change. They're doing gang rallies. This is a medium I could use. I like what they're doing in the community. They got Bloods and Crips sitting in the same room having peace rallies and teaching their kids about real estate and going to having meetings at the library, not on the corner, talking about banging out on somebody. They're trying to turn Crips into Crips. Community revolution in progress. You know what I mean? They're trying to turn Bloods into brotherly love overrides oppression and destruction in society. Bloods, looking at the acronyms. So I said, you know, I was attracted to that. So I didn't just jump into it because I'm just a organization groupie. I jumped into it because I found something in it that I felt like coming back from the negativity, this would be a good medium. I need a brotherhood. I need some kind of a movement to be a part of. You know what I mean? So, and this was already right here. I started going to meet. I didn't just jump right in, go to a meeting, put on a uniform. I went for a while. So the work that they was doing was a civilian at first, a civilian supporter, and then I became part of the rank and file. After times of traveling with them, going to visit Malcolm X's gravesite, going on educational field trips with them, I started to come back into my height of consciousness. I needed doing things and going places and meeting people who were famous, people who were taught directly from Farrakhan, things that I've just never done before that I was intrigued, even though I still was on my Hebrew grind. But in that, as we started to meet other brothers and sisters from different backgrounds, different